Hi, my name is Shoma Jurgensen, business instructor and owner. And today, in our next in the series of strategic management, I'd like to talk about how resources in your business can be considered capabilities and eventually defined to be competencies. And this progression is a tremendously important continuum to understand as you define the competitive advantage of your business. And so before you perform an internal audit, which you would do as part of your strategic planning, as part of your SWOT analysis, and an internal audit then would reveal strengths and weaknesses in your business, you want to be able to distinguish your resources from your capabilities and then understand those capabilities which are competencies or distinctive capabilities. So one way to think about this is the resources are what you have, capabilities are what you can do with them, and competencies are those things that you do really, really well that put you ahead of your competition. All right, so let's take a look at this big picture and how they interact. So resources first are inputs, whereas your capabilities and competencies are derived from those inputs, right? The processes then and people intermix with the inputs in order to create activities that can generate value for your customers and that are difficult to imitate, so they give you that competitive edge. So let's go back to resources for a moment. These are the types of resources you might have, or inputs. You would have financial inputs, physical inputs like real estate, buildings, machinery. You'd have human resources, intangibles like brands, and structural or cultural inputs, which could be the culture of your company, how motivated and driven your people are. Now, when these inputs interact with your people and create processes or regular, predictable, sequential activities. This is what your people get up in the morning to do. They go into work and they perform their tasks. These capabilities are possibilities for a competency. But just like if I was given a basketball and put on a basketball court with basketball hoops, I have all the resources I need. I'm certainly capable. I'm full-bodied, and I have all the normal responses that a body would have, or I should say all the responses you would expect someone to have. And then as competencies, however, I'm not really able to put the ball into the hoop. I don't have good hand-eye coordination, which as a basketball player is tremendously important that be a competency, that be something that you are good at. It's something that adds value to your team, and if you're a really good scorer, is difficult to imitate. All right. So in this way, what you have, what you do with it, and what really stands out is that continuum of resources to competencies. Now, I want to use an example from tax season right now. We're being flooded with commercials that talk about tax software. So I'll pick on TurboTax at the moment. They're one of those software brands, but not the only one. And so TurboTax is saying, hey, we have this easy-to-use software that gives you a guarantee that you're going to have the tools you need. And then they say, well, you know a lot. You know a lot about your life. You know if you've moved, gotten a job, had a baby. You've done other things in your life that you've been proud of. So why wouldn't you have the resources and the capability to do your own taxes? Now, H&R Block, however, is trying to convince you that although you have the capability, that doing your own taxes is not a competency. It's not something that you've been highly trained to do, that you're constantly educated to do, and therefore this says money unclaimed when people do their own taxes, $1 billion. So H&R Block is asserting that although you have the resources and the capability, you don't have their competency. And without their competency in training and their employees and their locations and their processes, that you will actually not do as well for yourself as they can. So that's an example of how resources, capabilities, and competencies work in this case in advertising. So what does a competency or a distinctive capabilities look like? And the distinctive capability really needs to be something that allows your company to step ahead, to shine. An example of this is BudNet. And if you're interested in more detailed information, you can look up this website that talks a little bit more about BudNet. But what it is an internal software database that allows BudNet for Anheuser-Busch to collect a tremendous amount of information. They have up-to-the-minute sales info. So as their sales team goes out and looks at all the data, they download receipts from sales, how much shelf space they have. They also take a look at the quality of that merchandising. Is it an end cap? Is there a particular display for a promotion? They look at competitor information, how much shelf space Anheuser-Busch has compared to the others, how much their category has compared to other categories in the store. And all of that gets input via mobile devices into this database that allows Anheuser-Busch to understand consumer tastes and preferences and sales almost to the zip code level, all right? I'm not sure if they look at it to the zip code level, but they certainly could. And by collecting, and it's become progressively more sophisticated, it started out on Excel spreadsheets by the merchandisers themselves and now has turned into something their Salesforce collects with pride, I might add, because it creates a competitive advantage for Anheuser-Busch. They are able to pinpoint promotions and sales, boost lagging sales, take advantage of highly competitive areas to step ahead, and they've really turned their capability to collect data into a competency, so they're very good at doing it. And now they are able, with BudNet and the processes around what they collect in BudNet, Anheuser-Busch has made it into a distinctive capability or competency. At this level, it's very difficult for competitors to duplicate the complexity of information that's collected and the data mining proficiency that Anheuser-Busch has developed. So I hope this makes the continuum of resources, capabilities, and competencies more understandable. Thank you very much, and I look forward to sharing more strategic management videos in the series. Thank you so much.